What's up, y'all? Welcome back to my channel. It's your girl Paisley, and I'm back with another vlog. First things first, I want to welcome anyone who's new here. Thank you so much for tuning in. And second thing is, shout outs to the day ones, because what? If you know, you know, because I know. So you already know what I'm gonna say. Make sure you like, subscribe, turn on the bell so you're notified whenever I post, and go crazy in the comments. Do what you want to do. Thank you so much. Okay, so let's just get into the vlog. So basically, I had posted on my TikTok account that I would be doing a Q&A and to ask any question. Most of the questions were regarding my daughter and her autism, which I'm not surprised because we're super open about her autism on TikTok, on all platforms really. So that was where most of the questions came from, and I just felt like they were super meaningful, that it wasn't something that I wanted to type a response to. I felt like they are answers that deserve to be answered in depth and thoroughly. So here we are, Q&A Autism Edition. First question: what are the pros and cons of being a mama to an autistic child? Okay, I'm gonna start with the pros. The pros are I get to witness love from a unique, most genuine, most purest form. I feel like my daughter isn't nonverbal, but she's not super verbal. She's more so says what she needs to say, and anything outside of that like doesn't exist. Like there's not gonna be a conversation. She's gonna let you know, like milk, bed, like whatever it is, what show, the episode, everything that she feels like I need to know, she's gonna let me know. And then outside all that small talk, she doesn't do it. And honestly, I don't really blame her. Like, get to the point. Anyway, so I feel like love needs no words, and she has shown me that. She shows me her way of love and compassion in a way that doesn't require any words. And the reason that I said purest form is because, you know, you often hear a lot of times like words are just words with no action behind it. I feel like the way that she expresses her love is that action that we look for. She's very much so going to let me know how she feels, and it's just a different outlook that's honestly super amazing to be able to witness. Another pro, she's honestly made me a better person and the best version of myself in many ways, like the level of patience and understanding and compassion, how resilient she is to situations that she can't control but makes the best of, like how she quickly adapts, along with not taking anything for granted, being thankful for everything, even the little things, living in the moment, and to really just not complain because it could always be worse. You know, here I have my daughter who things are a little bit more, you know, difficult for her, and she's in the best mood always, you know, aside from the meltdowns. But for the most part, like, she has like a real good spirit about her. And I love that for her. I'm witnessing greatness, honestly. Like, if I'm being honest, like, my 3-year-old is very intelligent. And that's the thing that, like, kind of trips me up, because it's like the small talk is there, but, like, baby, she can solve an equation. She will solve an equation. Matter of fact, she's waking up spitting out numbers. Like, she's curing cancer in her head, I'm sure. Like, she's brilliant. She can see something from a video and like it could be another language, and like, you know, she's suddenly fluent. Or even like one time I'm like watching a documentary and it started speaking in Spanish, but the subtitles was at the bottom in English. She read the whole sentence. Mind you, I've never even heard her say a sentence, but she read that whole sentence off the bottom of the screen. It's like, is she reading ABCs all the way to Z backwards and in Spanish? Maybe she does know Spanish. Every shape, every type of construction truck, any type of vegetable. I can't wrap my head around it. Like, the girl is brilliant, and literally I'm witnessing greatness. Like, it's so mind-blowing to me. I'm like, where did you learn that? I can honestly say, like, I've got to really sit and enjoy the moment, like enjoy the ride, like start to finish. Like, I'm there, I'm present. So every little thing hits different for me. I cherish every little word you ask. I don't care what you ask me for, you can have it because you asked. Like, that's how I'm coming behind my baby. Like I love my girl, and I'm gonna love her out loud. I don't care what nobody got to say. I don't care what nobody thinks. Like, it's 10 toes behind mine, period. Like, we'll shut it down. You hear me? The world isn't kind. Now I just have like a different outlook on it, and it's just taught me to be kind to the moms. Like, you don't know like what that mom's going through back at home, and like even for a child, like you don't know what that kid goes through. As far as the cons, this is kind of like my norm, so to like imagine it any differently is kind of, I don't know. But I don't know, like, I guess it's just hard. Like, I would obviously rather, you know, see my child want to interact with other kids and want to play around other kids and be around other kids and, you know, be in daycare settings and stuff like that. But my daughter is actually the opposite. She does not want to play with other kids. She does not want to be around other kids. She does not want to go to your birthday party. She doesn't even want to go to her birthday party. She's very to herself. And that's okay. Like, I love that for her. And I respect that. And I don't push anything that she doesn't like. So we be chilling. Something even as simple as eating food is challenging for your kid, where it requires, you know, outside help and therapy and doctors. Like, it's exhausting, you know, it's worrisome, but it's necessary. Like, it has to be done, so it gets done. Or even, you know, just any of the sensory things in general. Like, so for example, I could go to the store and I could reward her with something like a doll, like, because, you know, I want to get my baby a doll. And to me, I'm like, you know, doing the best thing ever, mom points, brownie points, all that. But when I give it to her, it's like the scariest day of her life. I should have known she hated dolls, and she hates me for a week. But the biggest one for me would probably be the wondering. The just wanting to be like, how was your day? Like, what would you like to do today? Or even, what's your favorite color? Or just like any kind of small talk, like those things that I would want to know as a mom. Like, I'm running around like a chicken with my head chopped off, like this. Like, I swear I need 8 arms. Just tiptoeing around hoping that I don't, you know, trigger something. But regardless of all of that, I feel like the pros definitely outweigh the cons. And I honestly, hands on the Bible, like, I would not change a thing about her, because it wouldn't even be her. Like, I feel like she is who she is. Like, everything about her makes her who she is, and I love everything about her. Whew, I mean, like, these questions, I could literally like ramble. So like, okay, how did you know, or when did you know she was autistic? And I don't even want to tussle, because we know how y'all like to tussle. But before I even answer my question, this is me, and I'm speaking for me and my child. But I knew my daughter was autistic around like 9 months old. Because they'd be like, you can't know until they're like 3 or 4. I knew. You can't, but I knew. But no, for real, like, that kind of triggered me, because that was always so annoying hearing, like, when I would express my concerns, like, oh, well, like, she's too young. Well, is she? Because it looks like I was right. So, little backstory. I had the idea when she was 9 months old. It wasn't really a confirmed, like, I believe it in my heart until like around 12 months. But when the idea originally came to my mind, it was around 9 months. And everything about her was different. And it was just different in ways that I couldn't explain. And, you know, I feel like 1 or 2 things would happen and I would be like, okay, like, that's different. But then it would turn into like 3 and 4 and 5 and 6 and became a concern. And if you know me, I'm gonna Google. Like, her doctor calls me Mom MD. Like, I'm gonna Google. And I did my research, and autism popped up. And I was like, that's crazy. So I ended up telling my best friend, because we had kids 3 months apart, and her daughter was older, so we did a lot of play dates. So she's just like, no, like, you know, everyone's like, first time mom, like, you're worrying, like, So we would do play dates, and things would just start to become a little bit more noticeable in her daughter and my daughter. I just started to notice, like, the delay, honestly, is what I should say. It was just things like when she would get excited, she would kind of like lock her legs out, which was like my first concern. Like, I think that was the first red flag for me. And I was just like, that's weird. Like, I've never seen a baby do that. Like, she would get really, really, really stiff. She would get on her tiptoes, and I was like, oh, like, that's so cute. But then it would turn into she never got off her tiptoes. She was always on her tiptoes. And every little, like, milestone she was behind in. Rolling over late, to crawling late, to sitting up late, to walking late. Well, she actually had to get physical therapy to learn how to walk because she was always on her tiptoes, to the point where she was like kind of putting stress on one of the muscles. When it came around the time to start feeding solids, she absolutely refused. Like, every mealtime was an issue, and I was thinking, okay, like, it's the flavor of baby food. Like, everything was an issue. Every flavor was an issue. She would immediately spit it out, and I was like, okay. So after all of these kind of like started to accumulate, I was just like, okay, something's going on. So I bring up her concerns to her pediatrician, and she tells me about a program basically where you can go and you can get your child evaluated, and if there's more than a 25% delay, they will automatically be accepted into any kind of therapy that they need. She ended up being in physical therapy, occupational therapy, feeding therapy, and another kind of therapy, but I forgot what it was called. So obviously, because they accepted her, she had more than a 25% delays. So she started those services almost immediately. And honestly, the program was life-changing. I don't know how it works in all states, but in Texas, there's a program called ECI. They work with kids from infant to the age of 3. You can have your child evaluated, and if there's any delay, more than 25%, any area that needs improvement, they will make sure that your child gets the help they need. And they also send the therapist out to your home. And then she was transferred to a private occupational therapist, speech therapist, and feeding therapist, which she currently does till this day. It's a lot of therapies, but it's honestly very much so needed. And if I could say anything, it would be early intervention is key. Like, I feel like because we started so early, she was able to learn things the correct way, and it was easier instead of having to take someone who's like 4 or 5 when they swear you can't know till then, and then teaching them the correct ways when they've been doing things different their entire life. Like, it literally makes no sense. We literally did everything that we could do in the meantime, like in the little waiting period for them to determine she's old enough. So it wasn't till she was 3 years old that I had to take her somewhere to be evaluated, and they concluded that she was on the spectrum and needs further evaluations and tests to determine exactly where she is on the spectrum, because it's a spectrum. Like, no one on the spectrum is the same. Like, lots of doctor's appointments, lots of evaluations, lots of things over a span of 3 years just to be told, like, you know, she actually is on the spectrum. Almost like I said that 3 years ago. But hey, I'm just her mom. So that actually kind of like irritates me, and I could go on and on about that too. Like, the fact that the testing is so late is insane to me. But that is eventually how I ended up finding out that she had autism. Okay, next question is, how did I feel when I found out my daughter had autism? I felt relieved that there was now an explanation for the things that I had noticed. And even though I wasn't heard for so long, it was kind of like a pat on the back to myself because I paid attention. Like, I was proactive instead of reactive. Like, I really made the best out of the situation, and it's the best scenario that could have happened in this situation. So kudos to me. Will you have more children? Yes, I do want more kids. And yes, I've wanted more kids in the past. And it's just, unfortunately, like, with the situation I have at hands, I don't feel like I had any of the extra time, or would have had any of the extra time, to be who I needed to be for Sadie. I feel like I needed to take care of what I had at home before, like, going and, like, you know, trying to put more on my plate or even Sadie's plate. And I don't know if I would have been able to be as present for her as she needed me to be if, you know, I did have more kids. But, you know, obviously she's getting older and things are changing. So it's like there will be a time when, you know, I can slow down and I can, you know, okay, like, but it's just not in the cards for us right now. So definitely one day, like God's timing for sure, but I don't know about right now. Next question is, when did she start talking? Y'all, I did not hear the word mama until she was about 2.5. Listen, I never thought I would hear that word. And when I heard it, cried like a baby. Cried like a baby. Like, that is the perfect example of what I mean when I say don't take the little things for granted. She's still calling me mama today. So I'm grateful, because a lot of the times, you know, autistic kids can regress, meaning they lose skills that they once had. And as far as her vocabulary, her words, and like things like calling me mama, like she has not regressed in those areas. So I'm just over the moon. Like I'm so thankful, because being able to hear the words mama every day is more than enough for me. Like, yes, like that's actually my favorite thing to hear her say is mama. Like it just I don't know how else to say. Like, it just hits different. It just hits different. And if you know, you know. Like, I don't play about that mama stuff. Like, I go hard for my title because, yes, I worked for that title. Like, I worked for that title. You hear me? Like, Another question was, is she in daycare? And the answer is no. She is actually not in daycare. She stays home with me. So, along with, like, obviously her having outside therapies, I just don't want her in daycare right now and put her in a situation that will overwhelm her, because there's still skills that she's working on, and things that she still kind of struggles with that, you know, the other kids around her might not. So I don't even want to put her in that stressful environment. So she stays home with me, and we work on those things at home, and she works on those things in therapy with her therapist. And so she's on her own path, and she's on her own timing. What are your biggest concerns and fears with being a mother? Someone mistreating my child, or someone being not kind, or something that really forces me to really get out of character. And yeah, because I don't play about her at all. Like, and I will argue with a kid. Go get your mom, actually. Because I've had grown adults come and feel like, you know, they could say something nasty about my child in a comment section behind a fake screen. You know, it's really sick out here. It's really weird. At the end of the day, like, I know what comes with social media, and I know what comes with me, you know, opening up my space for people to say something. But stuff like that doesn't really get to me, because it's just like, at the end of the day, you're miserable. Like, you're grown and you're talking about a child who can't defend themselves. But luckily for her, she has me, and I'm going to defend her. And what I have to say is, when you come for her, make sure you're ready for me, okay? As long as I'm raising her, so not go on the internet and talk about other people's kids, she's winning. I don't care what you got to say. So the weirdos are my biggest fear, because people are weird. Like, really weird. It's on sale. And honestly, I think that's a wrap with all the questions that I have. I feel like I was rambling so much, I kind of answered 3 or 4 of them at a time. So, love that for me. Anyways, I hope you guys stick around and stay tuned to follow along with the journey. More exciting content coming. Also, I take recommendations. Let me know in the comments if there's anything you guys would want to know or see. I'm for the people, so, you know, I'm gonna give the people what they want to see. Period. Anyway, that's a wrap for today's vlog. Thank you so much for tuning in. If you even made it this far in the video, shout out to you. Again, make sure you like, comment, subscribe, turn on the bell so you're notified whenever we post. And I'll see you next time.